So, would you pay more for my list of 1,200 past clients or 12 attorneys? Let's take a look. So the big question is this: how are ordinary agents just like us supposed to stand out in the overly crowded real estate space while living a great lifestyle without having to go broke or radically change what we're already doing? Probate is the answer, and this series will show you how. I'm Anthony Nitz, and welcome to The Probate Agent. Hey folks, hi, Anthony Nitz here, theprobateagent.com. Hey, you know what? One of the things that we talk about a lot is we talk about exit strategies, we talk about referrals, we talk about building a real business, right? Not just going out and doing a job every day, because that's kind of, for a lot of people, what real estate is. They got to go out and they got to find that next deal, and my God, if that deal doesn't come through, they're in a lot of trouble, right? Well, I was kind of thinking about this one day, and I go, for exit strategies, when I'm thinking about this, I go, gosh, I've been to probably, 6 or 7 big name trainers. And one of the things they talk about is you got to have an exit strategy. You got to be able to get out of the business when you decide you want to get out of the business, right? Because if you take a look at like Robert Kiyosaki's they call it something quadrant. I forget what it is. I'm sorry. But in one corner, you're an employee, right? So if you're an employee and you don't go to work, well, you don't get paid. You're self-employed. You're still an employee, but you're just working for yourself, right? And if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. On the other hand, when you're running a business, which is what we're talking about, now you don't necessarily have to be in the picture, but now you're still making money. Okay. And this is what one of the ultimate goals of running, being a real estate agent is, so that we can get out of the business, still have income coming in as we go along. And I've got plenty of ideas for that. If you want to talk about that, reach out to me, and, feel free to ask. But what I did was, most important thing I thought was, because a lot of them say that depending on the size of your database, when you're ready to retire, what people are buying is your database. And it's true. Look at Amazon or Facebook. They bought WhatsApp, okay, for a lot of money in the $1 billion price range. But why? They could have replicated WhatsApp almost instantly. Matter of fact, they have Messenger, which is pretty much the same thing. Well, they didn't buy it because it really looked cool and they liked those colors, and decided to pay that price. No, they bought it because of the customers that were on it. There's a lot of value in that. Look at, Instagram, same thing. They bought Instagram. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg could have replicated that in about a minute and a half and said, hey, here's our picture sharing, software or app. But he didn't. He bought Instagram because they had millions and millions and millions of users on that platform, and people that weren't already on Facebook. And so when he bought that, what were they buying? The list. Well, so in theory, as real estate professionals, we should go, gosh, I have a list. I've got a list of past clients, tons of past clients. For me, I've got over 1,200 past clients that I've worked with in my database. But can I sell that list? Is there a real huge value in that list? And do I get is it money that I could say, gosh, I could retire on? Some trainers tell you yes. I would tell you that you'd be hard pressed to do that, because who do people do business with in the real estate industry? They do business with the people they like and they trust. So if I have my 1,200 past clients and they know me, they know Anthony Nitz, and then they turn around and I sell it to you, and now your name starts popping up, they're going to go, who's that? We don't know who that is, right? It's like Facebook. Facebook branded themselves Facebook. They didn't say, hey, Mark Zuckerberg. No, it's Facebook, right? And so unless you built your real estate business to have its own business brand that you could sell, which most of us don't, right? Because we're individual, independent contractors. It's going to be a really tough thing to turn around and sell. And so I did some numbers. I was kind of tinkering around a little bit, and I go, okay, what is the value of these clients who are in my database? What is it that I could expect from them if I sold it to somebody and everything worked out perfect and everybody in my database loved that person and whatnot? What could they expect out of it in return? And I've got 1,200 on I've got a spreadsheet here for those of you who are listening to the podcast. If you want, you can check it out on the YouTube channel. But I'll just try to describe it as best I can here for you. So I got a spreadsheet here. It's active referring attorney's value calculator. And in this particular page, this page that we're looking at, it's actually looking at past clients, the value of my past client database. So I just have in there for the number of past clients, 1,200. And then I have the average referrals. I'm going to get back to that in a second. And then I have average gross commission. So what I did was I took the median sales price, and I got the little chart over here that shows what the median sales price is in Orange County, California, and this was at the end of June 2019, and it's $730,000. Okay, so $730,000. And then what I did is I went conservative, and I said, okay, average commission 2.5%. I'll tell you on the listing side, we do better than that. But on average, if you look at the MLS, everybody's paying 2.5% when you're working with a buyer or whatever. At least out here anyways. So maybe it's different where you're at. Commissions are all negotiable there. Okay, don't worry about it. So if we take $730,000 at 2.5%, average gross commission is about $18,250. Okay. And then I put in there the fact that I've been in there for 20 years. So what I did was I said, okay, I have 1,200 clients and the average number of referrals that I can expect from my database as a whole. Okay. I put 0.5%. I know there's some of you out there going, man, Anthony, you must really suck at getting referrals from your database. And no, I don't. There's interesting things that happen in your database as far as getting those past clients to give you referrals. We'll talk about those in a minute, but just for the sake of this conversation, let's stick with this number, 0.5%. So if we take a look at 1,200, I'm doing this on the calculator, times 0.05, we're talking about 60 referrals a year. Okay, wait a minute, oops, sorry. No. 6 referrals a year, 1,200 times 0.005. Yeah, 6 referrals a year. 6 referrals a year, okay? And when I do that math, to me that comes out to about 54,750. And there's a reason it's only 6 referrals. I know there's some of you are you're referral kings and queens and you're best friends with everybody in your database. Excuse me. But and some people are a lot better at getting referrals than I am. I admit it. But I'm just going to go with that number. So when I'm turning around and I say to somebody, hey, I'm going to sell my list of 1,200 past clients. And if you can get 0.5% as far as referrals out of that, you're going to get $54,750 in income for the year, gross income for the year, right? Well, wait a minute. What if, okay, let's say I'm like one of you guys and you guys are just referral monsters and I get a whole, 3 full percent and I change it on the spreadsheet. I'd be getting $328,500 in income per year. Is there value there? Absolutely, there's value there. Okay. But why am I saying like only 0.5%? Well, here's some of the statistics, some of the things that I've tracked. Now, in full disclosure and honesty, there's been ebbs and flows in my business over the last 20 years where we've been busy, and we've had lots of referrals, and everybody loves us, and all that good stuff. But then we've had times when it's been really down, like when in the foreclosure market, you're taking somebody's home that they don't want to get rid of, but you have to sell it. and they're feeling down, they're ashamed, they're embarrassed, whatever, they're not giving out referrals. They're not going, man, he did a good job taking our home away from us. No, they're just not doing it, They appreciate what you did, and if you're empathetic and sincere and kind to them, then they will, they'll appreciate it. But that's about it. They're really not giving a lot of referrals. And then there's times, where we've had family issues and stuff, where, I actually kind of pulled out of the business for a couple of years. And I took whatever came, but I wasn't marketing it. Okay. So in fairness, honest, just being honest, it could be a lot better. But let's say that it's the 3%. You get 3% of your entire database that's giving you those referrals, $328,500 in gross commissions. But why I believe it's so low for me is because, number one, when we track our activity, one of the things that we notice is that we have a really, really high referral rate in the first 6 months after closing a transaction. And so depending on the market and a lot of the other variables, we were getting 3 to 3.5 transactions for every one transaction we closed, because we were really good at it at that time, right? And so so it was really good, but it was in the first 6 months. When we looked at it from a 12-month perspective, it did not change much at all. So we've got the 3.5, and then like in 12 months, it was like 3.85 transactions, right? And the 2-year mark, it was like 4.2 transactions. In the 3-year mark, it hardly ever changed. And after that, it very rarely ever changed. The next transaction that would come would be, when they decided or they needed to sell their house. Okay. So why I say, you go, man, you got a database of 1,200 people. The referral should be flying in the door for you. Okay. Yeah, maybe again, and I know that there's people out there who are better at maintaining referrals, in their database than I am. I just know it. Okay. But here's why, people don't continue to give referrals, in my opinion. This is my opinion, guys, after that first 2 to 3 year mark. Okay. And, number one, it's attrition, right? It's just a simple attrition. You worked hard to build up this client database, but then they turn around and, something else comes up. Something else gets their attention. A lot of them, they make a new realtor friend. It happens. I had a client that we just closed transaction last month, and she screenshotted this letter for me that she received like a week after closing. And it said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I just want to let you know I'm the area specialist in this neighborhood. I've been working here for a long time, blah, blah, blah. I really look forward to getting to know you and being your best pal and blah, blah, blah," and all this stuff like that. "And welcome to the neighborhood. We're going to get along great," kind of thing, right? It was like a really good letter, actually. And what that person already is trying to do is steal the hearts and mind of my clients away from me and make them best friends. And I can guarantee you this, and I'm realistic. I know that if they end up going to all of the community functions with this person, and if they like them, they end up going to barbecues with them. Their kids are playing soccer in the same team. They go to the same church, right? Whatever it is, they're in the PTA together. I'm not doing those things. I'm not living in their neighborhood. So it's going to be pretty tough for me to maintain that relationship on that high level as opposed to where they're at now. Okay. So they make new realtor friends, and you guys know this business is turning over constantly. New people coming in, new people going out, but everybody's always looking for their piece of the pie. A lot of them move out of state. We're in Southern California, guys. We've got, I don't know if it's like an exodus, but people are just going, we can't live here. It's too expensive. And I agree. It's very, very expensive here. so they just move out of the state. Well, guess what? Now what? I send it out for a referral to Texas or wherever they're moving to. But beyond that, they're not calling me back up to say, hey, can you sell our Texas house? No, they're not. Sometimes they just transfer the property to the kids. So one of the things that we do, conversation that we're always having with our customers, is you need to have a trust. Okay. We're not trust attorneys. We don't do trust. We're not attorneys at all, but you need to have a trust. And so then they get that trust. And the cool thing about that is that when mom or dad passes away, it just simply, in a sense, transfers over to that sibling or spouse. Sorry, the kids. It just transfers over to the kids, and there's not a lot of hoops for them to jump through. Just file a few documents or whatever. So because of those, they don't call us up to sell the house. Some of them they do, of course, but there's a lot of them because they can't afford to go buy their own house. They just move in, and I don't blame them at all. I think that's great. That's kind of the whole idea, right? Probate. Probates typically are a one and done type of transaction, typically. And the reason I say that is because, the family members, they're from out of the area. And when I say out of the area, I mean, even if they're more than 10 miles away, even if they're just 10 miles away, they may or may not call you, but a lot of the people that I end up dealing with, they're coming in from other parts of the state, other counties, and even out of the state. Even have some coming from out of the country. Okay, so that's a one and done type of situation. And then here's a simple fact: people just aren't buying and selling as frequently. When I started in real estate 22 years ago now, it was a pretty hard fact that every 5 to 7 years, people were selling their house. Every 5 to 7 years. So you can count on that. But we're actually, and this is at least out here, we're seeing it's more in the 10 to 12 year range. So if people aren't selling their houses, holy smokes, we've got, we're not going to get those referrals. So that's just what it is. And then also there's a thing called, I call it reciprocity burnout. So this is what I talk about, in the first 6 months, you're getting all those referrals. The second 6 months, it really starts to die down. The second year, it's really, really fizzled out. By the third year, it's gone. And the reason is because you're doing all your follow-ups. And if you're doing them the right way and you're nice and you're friendly and you're providing value and information like that, a couple of things. Number one, they're not in the market anymore, right? They don't have that reticular activator going on where now they're just hypersensitive to all the real estate stuff that's going on and who's buying and who's selling and this and that and everything. Right? They just don't care anymore because they've done what they need to do and they bought their house. Now they're moved on. They focused on other things. But the other thing is they go, in the first year, Anthony, gosh, I've told you thank you 15 times. Now, I've never had anybody tell me that, but the reality is, I have clients, they call me and they go, oh, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much for the good job that you did. Okay. But Anthony, I've told you thank you 15 times. In the back of their mind, they're keeping a tally of that. And they're like, okay, how many more times do you want me to say thank you? Okay. How many more times do you want me to give back? And they've given 2 or 3 or 3.5 or 3.8 referrals, in that first year. And there's another factor there where they go, okay, gosh, wait, I can do the math. I gave out 3 referrals to Anthony. And boy, with those 3 referrals, he should be a millionaire right now, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But they just believe, we've made a lot of money off of those 3 referrals. And at least here in California, we're limited to a $25 gift. Well, that's the rules. So you can do, decide what you want to do. We take care of our people. I'll just tell you that. And then the last thing is laziness. Honestly, I'll just be honest. I'll be honest. When you've been doing this for 22 years, you go, you're excited, enthusiastic, motivated, and then you get tired for a little bit. And then you're excited and you're enthusiastic and motivated. And then, you kind of tinker around with some other stuff because it becomes routine for you. And unless you got systems in place to do this stuff, sometimes laziness just gets in the way. So, but back to this whole thing of what's the value of our database? Would you rather have 1,200, my past clients of 1,200, even at 3% referral, every month, annually making $328,000, okay? Or would you rather have 12 attorneys? 12 attorneys, okay? So in this particular spreadsheet, you see here again, same thing, $730,000. Average commission, I'm sticking with the 2.5%. And if I have 12 attorneys that I have to focus on and follow up with them, and if they only give me 3 referrals a year, that's it, average referrals. Again, at the average gross commission of $18,250, I'm at $657,000. $657,000 for the year by taking care of and nurturing 12 individuals. Now, the difference between past clients, like I said, they want to do business with you because they like and trust you. And attorneys, they're doing business. They want to know that their clients are taken care of. Yes, there's the relationship part where they want to have you like and trust them as well, or you have them like and trust you, so that they feel comfortable giving you the referrals. But it's way easier to go to 12 attorneys and bring in an individual and say, hey guys, look, Steve, he's going to be stepping in and taking over for me because I'm, moving into another phase of my life, whatever it is. And so I want you to know he's going to do just as good of a job as I do. I've taught him everything I know, whatever it is, right? But in any case, when it comes to maintaining and nurturing relationships, in my book, and this is why I've loved probate from day one, it is way easier to maintain and nurture 12 relationships than it is to maintain and nurture 1,200. Does that mean you don't focus on your past clients? No, of course you do. But it's way more productive, in my opinion, to focus on those attorneys. So, what if you had 25? If you had 25 attorneys who were giving you just 3 a year? Just 3 a year, you're talking about annual income, in this case, in our scenario, right? 1.3 million. Let's say, okay, we're in an area where it's 450,000 is the median home sale price. Okay. If you got 450,000, you got 25 attorneys giving you 3 transactions at 2.5% commission. Your average gross commission is $11,250. You're making $843,750 per year. So could you see why it would be so important? Now, here's what I can tell you is that 3, that's pretty darn low. In our case, I'm gonna put this back here, $730,000. And we have probably, I would say, our top 7. It's kind of 6, but there's really 7. So just in this case, if only 7 were giving us 3 referrals per year, we're at $383,000. However, if you look at it and you go, okay, we're really, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 9 referrals per year from 7 sources, guys. From 7 sources, you're talking about $1.149 million. Okay, do you see the value in this? You got to do the math on this, and you got to go where the business is. And maybe you got to do 50. Maybe you got to get 50 in your list, and maybe they're only going to give you 2 a year. Still $1.8 million. So question is, if you were to try to figure out your exit strategy and have to sit there and nurture 1,200 past customers, which I know most of you probably don't have, just nurturing 120 past customers, can be a challenge. And it'll get away from you the bigger and bigger and bigger it gets. Or do you want to nurture 50 customers or 25 customers, or I should say attorneys, or even just 10 attorneys? What is the better result for you? What's going to give you the most bang for your buck? So in our past podcasts, we've talked about, going out and making a route and hitting every single one of those estate planning attorneys that are in the area and bringing them value, bringing them gifts, bringing them goodies. Go back and listen to, I think it might have been the second or third one, but start from the beginning. Go back and listen to the beginning podcasts. And I go over that stuff about how you go out and you get those relationships with those attorneys so that you can really grow that referral database even further. If you want to talk about, figuring out your exit strategy and more, go ahead and send me an email, Anthony@theprobateagent.com, and let's have a conversation. Love to chat with you about it. All right, you guys, thanks so much for listening, and have a great, productive day and week and month and year. Take care. Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe right here where you're listening to us right now, and any of your other social media platforms. And leave feedback for me. It's really important to me, and it helps us out. Do you have a question that you want answered live on the show? Go to theprobateagent.com to submit your question, or even to get an opportunity to be interviewed. For my agent friends, you'll also find additional content and some freebies there that you can download right now. Until next time, let's put the pro back into probate.